This is the fourth and final part of a selection of readings from the novelisation of Richard Attenborough's film Shadowlands, written by Leonore Fleischer, based on the true story of the relationship between C.S. Lewis and Joy Gresham. Whilst on a train to London to visit his wife Joy in hospital, C.S. Lewis, familiarly known as Jack, has a chance encounter with his former student Peter Whistler, who has now become a schoolteacher like his father before him. Lewis recollects a previous occasion when Whistler had told Lewis what his father had once said to him: "We read to know we are not alone." Sometime later, Jack Lewis is devastated following the death of his wife Joy, but eventually decides to return to his academic work. Slowly, things began to return to normal. Not to where they were before Jack had met Joy. That could never be the same again. But work helped. Work and family were the only things that did help. Jack's brother Warney was, as always, a rock, and Joy's son Douglas had been folded into their family like a son to both brothers. C.S. Lewis began writing again and resumed his seminar and tutorial schedule. Lewis was approaching his study rooms at Magdalen and was about to enter when he saw a serious-faced young man waiting. The boy cleared his throat. Evidently he had been waiting for Professor Lewis. "Who are you?" asked Jack. "Chadwick, sir. You're my tutor this term." "Am I? You'd better come in, hadn't you?" Together they climbed the stairs to Lewis's study. The boy stood nervously until Jack gestured for him to sit down. Then he picked up his old pipe, perched on a corner of his desk, and watched the boy while he filled the pipe from his tobacco tin. "Chadwick, you say?" "Yes, sir." "Sit down." Lewis lit up his pipe and took a long puff of the smoke. "We read to know we're not alone." He looked sharply at the undergraduate. "Do you think that is so?" "I hadn't thought of it like that before, sir." The boy's dark eyes held a familiar awe. He was actually being questioned by the legendary C.S. Lewis. "No, nor had I," said Lewis quietly. "I suppose some people would say we love to know we're not alone. Would you?" The young man began to speak, hesitantly at first, then with increasing confidence. "Well, if you mean falling in love, well, I haven't, really. I probably know more about love from books than from personal experience." So did I, thought Lewis. So did I for so many years. How much I had to learn, how much I did learn thanks to Joy, my teacher, my love. He didn't know whether to envy this young man for the experience that still lay before him, or to pity him for the pain he would have to endure. On the whole, envy, he supposed. Yes, surely envy for the experience of love that waited somewhere for young Chadwick. "Go on, I'm listening," Lewis encouraged the student. He went to the window of his study, which was usually kept shut. He threw it open and leaned out, feeling the coolness of fresh air on his face, smelling the air, the grass below. Behind him, his student continued to talk. "Why love, if losing hurts so much? I have no answers any more, only the life I've lived. Twice in that life I've been given the choice, as a boy and as a man. The boy chose safety, the man chooses suffering. The pain now is part of the happiness then. That's the deal." Joy Davidman Lewis died in 1960, 4 years after their marriage. C.S. Lewis never recovered from her death. He became ill, steadily lost ground, and died of heart failure after a long illness on 22nd of November 1963 at the age of 65. He was survived by his elder brother, Major Warren Hamilton Lewis, known as Warney, and his stepsons, David and Douglas Gresham. Between Joy's death and his own, he wrote the companion volume to his earlier autobiography. The first volume, published in 1955, dealt with C.S. Lewis's boyhood, his atheism, his conversion to Christianity. It was titled, ironically enough, Surprised by Joy. The latter work, entitled A Grief Observed, was published in 1961 under the pen name N.W. Clerk. It would not appear in print under Lewis's own name until 15 years later. At the time of his death, C.S. Lewis was once again on intimate terms with God. It had been a long, difficult road back to forgiveness, but in the end, Jack Lewis did manage to forgive God. A few months before his death, C.S. Lewis described his Christian hope as being like a seed waiting patiently in the earth, waiting to come up a flower in the gardener's good time, up into the real world, the real waking. I suppose that our whole present life, looked back on from there, will seem only a drowsy half-waking. We are here, in the land of dreams, but cockcrow is coming. Thank you for watching. If you would like to see some more C.S. Lewis related content, then please like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you soon.